So last night was Hey Tevis, the 5th of Tevis. It's a holiday amongst Chassidim. A holiday associated with the fact, what is a Rebbe, what is Chassidus, and the fact that a United States federal judge ruled in favor of the Rebbe of Chabad Lubavitch, succinctly put, like the Rebbetzin put it, when she was asked, who do the books belong to, the Rebbe or Chassidim? She said the Rebbe and the books belong to Chassidim, meaning an understanding and appreciation of the relationship between the Rebbe and the Chassid. That's what was achieved. Now, we really wanted to read the court case, and it was coming out, and the next day there was going to be ability for us to get all the transcripts, and we're really getting excited about that, the possibility. And a week and a half after Hey Tevis, the Rebbe spoke about Shabbos and basically said that everything that happened was only a test, and the purpose of the test was to lift us, because nisayon, which means the word test, is also from the expression nes, which means to lift up. It was all about lifting us, and so the events that brought us to Hey Tevis should not be seen as significant. They're totally insignificant. You should not read it. You should not involve yourself in it. All you should do is focus on the fact, on a positive note, and the Rebbe kind of made it a focus of buying books and about association of Chassidim and Svarim and learning. That's how the Rebbe focused on it, and therefore he put aside, he kind of made sure that you should not focus at all on the events itself. He said it's like nothing, and he brought from Avraham Avinu when Abraham was tested by Hashem to go and bring his son onto the altar. It says that the Satan tried to stop him, and he did so by making a river of water, and Avraham goes in till his nostrils, and he turns his eyes to Hashem and says, my high, what's this? I mean, you want me to go somewhere? What's this water? And when he said that, boom, the water disappeared. So the Rebbe's focus was that the whole idea of an Nisayon, of a test, is to lift us. And in the notes, the Rebbe brings a discourse, one of the discourses of the Tzemach Tzedek. The Tzemach Tzedek has a fascinating discourse that speaks about different kinds of tests that we could have. There are 5 kinds of tests, and the purpose of a test is to elevate that which is giving us the test. What are the 5 kinds of tests, or bring some of them at least? One is a test of faith. One is a test when people are sick or going through hard times. One is a test of temptation. And one is a test of good times. When things are going well, how do you respond? Do you acknowledge Hashem, not just acknowledge and thank Hashem, but actually go more above that and more than that, and do something special for Hashem because of what He's done for you? And the theme that comes out is that the greatest elevation of the world is through tests. Because when we do a mitzvah, we're elevating, so to speak, those things that are allowed to be used. In a direct way, you can't elevate non-kosher. You can only elevate kosher. So the kosher food is being elevated. The non-kosher, you can't elevate in a direct way, only indirectly. But that is not a full elevation because you're not participating in it. You're not partaking of it. When, however, you fail and then do tshuva, then you elevate even the negative forces, what's called gimel klippos atmeis, a totally unclean klippot. You elevate it through the tshuva that you do. However, a test, when you have a test, then you elevate the negative even without participating. So therefore, he says that the greatest elevation is through a test. Now, here's the thing I want to get to. The story of Jacob, it says like this: when Yaakov Avinu, the Torah tells us about Yaakov, Vayeshev Yaakov, Bikush Yaakov Leisha Rishalva. Yaakov wanted to live in peace. Kafetz alav Rugus Yosef. So he got, all of a sudden, he has the terrible situation with Yosef, that Yosef disappears on him, or he thinks he's killed, etc. So think about it. What does it mean Yaakov wanted to sit in peace? Do you want to just lie on the beach and drink pina coladas? I mean, what does it mean Yaakov wanted to live in peace? He wanted to do Torah mitzvahs and raise his family, but peacefully. He didn't have to go through challenges, challenge of love and challenge of Esav, challenge of Dinah. He didn't want that anymore. He wanted to be able to simply sit and do what he needs to do, but in a non-challenging way. Hashem says, This world is all about challenge. You have to all about challenge. You want to not have challenge? I'll bring you on a challenge. What that says to me is that you have two options. Either you find your challenge, or God will bring you a challenge. Because it's about elevating the entire world through challenge. And this goes a step further. Being that the Jewish purpose is to refine and elevate the entire world, how do you do so? So sometimes we have representatives who go to particular places in the world and elevate it directly. And sometimes it's when we're challenged by a location and we overcome that challenge, that it creates an elevation. In the discourse of the Tzemach Tzedek, he says that when Nebuchadnezzar challenged Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah to worship an idol, and they did not, and they got thrown into a fiery furnace, and they were saved miraculously, that interaction elevated Nebuchadnezzar. Because they did not succumb to his test, that enabled them to elevate the negativity that was challenging them. Now I'll tell you where I brought this into practical application and where I see this today as well. There was a story with an Erev here, maybe 15 years ago or so. The community was trying to get an Erev in St. Ives, and there were many submissions against the Erev, and it brought out a tremendous amount of anti-Semitism, including council itself, where the mayor even said that because he's my friend, he can't vote. Because he's a friend, so therefore it will be seen as biased. Anyway, it failed in council, and as I said, it brought out anti-Semitic responses from members of the community. I thought to myself then, this idea. You know what? We have not really been engaging with council in a positive way, so we are forced to engage them in a negative way, to overcome the challenge that they're giving us, etc. And I decided that the next time around, next year, we're for sure going to have a Hanukkah event in council, which we organized. Those involved in the Erev of the time and noticed the anti-Semitism that came through the council and the community were not very happy about it. But I thought that this is actually going to change things. And so we did the Hanukkah event, and lo and behold, after that, the Erev went through council, no problem. It was done in a different way. It went through, simple, smooth. And from then, thank God, council's been helping us to the extent that in the last number of years, there's a beautiful menorah, a 12-foot menorah or 9-foot menorah standing outside council that represents Hanukkah in the most public place that we have in the Upper North Shore that I know of, at least. Right outside council, all the cars can see it. And that also was brought out with the Bankstown Hospital. We know we had the negative event with situation at Bankstown Hospital in February when 2 nurses said clearly that they would hurt Jews and Israelis, literally not treat them or kill them. And then this week, we had an event, a Hanukkah display and a Jewish display at Bankstown Hospital. It's going to sit there now for 3 weeks. We had 100 people at this event. That's the positive engagement. And so what this tells us practically, and this is my message, that we need to reach every place. And we need to engage positively, because especially in a place that is engaging us negatively, we need to find a way to engage them positively for spiritual positive purposes. That's part of the spiritual, intellectual, if you'd like, perspective, mystical perspective of Mitzvahs for Sydney. Verbandai, Mitzvahs Verbandai. If we can get that out there, we're engaging through the government in the furthest places of the community. That elevates it in a positive way, so we won't have to deal with it in a negative way. Additionally, we have people who have shown and expressed anti-Israel sentiments. They, in their own mind, don't think they're anti-Semitic. They're doing it because they think it's wrong, whatever. We now are working on engaging with them in a positive way. So hopefully with that positive relationship, that positive discussion, we can actually negate the negative interaction. In other words, we don't have to deal with them from a perspective of you're wrong and you're not going to defeat us. with your anti-Israel perspectives and regulations, etc., or announcements and pronouncements, but rather we'll have a positive engagement with you, whether it be with relation to Hanukkah or any other way, and that positive relationship will cause the positive elevation, so that we will choose our test. The test of going and engaging with a broader community in a positive way, and so we're not challenged in a negative way like we have. Good Shabbos.